Okay, time to make another article on Wikipedia, rewrite another article. And so haven't done this in a while, and I'm not going to show every step, but let's show the beginning. So I'm at the category stubs for American archaeology. I've already done like 5 of the pages, so they're no longer on here anymore. You can see here's the subcategory of all the zillions of stubs that are out there, which are, good Lord, tons. There is a science stub also. I mean, look at this. 1890 short story stubs, 1890s painting stubs. I mean, this goes on forever and ever. Next page, next page, next page. There's so many stubs that need to be done. And this is just in English. This isn't counting everything that needs to be done in other languages. So if somebody had an interest in a certain time of the certain subject, you could pick, and I mean, good Lord, there's so much to do. This is just things that are years. Oh my gosh. So we're working on articles that are science related. And I don't really know a lot of science, but I do know people. So I tend to work on people or books, not topics, or places I like, or I like, museums and things like that. So if I went down here and I picked this one, because then the W category would be gone if I finish that. I think I finished 5 articles in here. I wonder if it'll tell me. Let me see. View history from May 2020. What did it look like? 78 pages on there. Now there are, no, it still says 78. Lord. I go here. I swear I did some. I know I've done a bunch. Yeah, I've done a bunch. Anyway, this is just silly. I'm getting silly. Okay, so I picked this guy down here. I have no idea who he is. Edward F. Wente. So I'm going to copy all this over, put it into my sandbox, and I'm not going to take the categories. I'm going to stop right here. Looks like they attempted it. I'm not quite sure why it's a stub. Oops, that wasn't a good idea. So for some reason it's a stub. I'm going to go to my sandbox. Where is my sandbox? Here it is. Edit. I keep this in here for my article already. I don't like using reflex. I like using this. R, crinkle, crinkle, R, bar, word, uncrinkle, uncrinkle. So I use this style. Some of my editors use others, some don't. All right. So the first thing I need to do is get a probably, I think the first thing I should do is start get all these opened, take a look at them, see if they open okay. And Ramesses records. Who is this guy? Okay, sounds like it might be interesting. I'll probably learn a whole bunch. So I have a whole bunch of tabs open up here. The other thing I got to do is I got to get a info box in here that I can fill in as I go through these, and then I can start looking for more information. So these are probably, this looks like something that is something he did. So that's not something I want. I don't want that, because I don't want to put, it could be here for like works he's worked on or something like that, publications, but it's not going to give us anything. What's this? I don't want a Wikipedia page. How did I get that? Okay, that's not a Wikipedia page. That's an archive. That's an archive. That's going to a Wikipedia page. No, no, no. We don't want to go to web. Okay, how about this one? Oops, I should have opened it in a new screen. Okay. Oopsie doodle. Open a new tab. So I have this one. This is Wayback Machine. I have this one in the Wayback Machine. Oh, goodness gracious. I don't see a lot. Oh, that's not good. So we're not seeing a lot of good stuff. Because it's not about the work he did. It's about him. So I need information about him. Okay, so this is the work he did. Just ignore that for the moment. So I guess what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to share the screen on this. I don't want anybody looking at this. I'm going to pull up an article I wrote. This is another archaeologist that I did. I swear I did some of these. All right, so I wrote this. This is an archaeologist whose Wikipedia page was just crap. It used to look like this before I got involved. It used to look like this. It used to have a photo. I remember saying that from here to here. I remember saying, at least there's a photo. And now look at it. Okay, 11 citations. Sometimes it's all you got. 3. Well, this guy here that I'm working on is born in 1930. Is he even still alive? Okay, 95 years old by now, right? Because this is 2025. So I'm going to take his info box. That's how I work. Take his info box. Edit. I'm going to put it over here. Let's see, preview the wrong person. But it's there. And then what I'll do is I will take all this out. All gone. I'm sure there's a better way of doing this. I'm going to leave the death date stuff in there because I always get myself so confused with that. It's easier just to copy and paste. It's an archaeologist. I'll leave that there. Okay, so now it looks like this. Has a death day. Obviously he's not died. Or in 1930, I'll have to double check all of this. Birthplace. Nope, no idea. Wow, this might be really hard. But it is whatever it comes out to. And I can only do what I can do. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to go through and, the other thing I got to do is I've got to go over to the Wikipedia page that exists for this guy. And I need to say, I'm starting to work on it and I'm going to do a rewrite. So on the talk page. So I got to do that. And then I got to go through these references. Well, not that. This, I don't think that's going to be helpful. This might have something. I don't think so. This doesn't look like it doesn't look good. But you never know. I start on these things and then next thing I know, I've got all kinds of stuff. But that's how I work on Wikipedia. I start with when I'm going to do a rewrite. I mean, I already know I enjoy archaeology pages. I already know I like doing people pages. And probably follow this format here, where I'm going to try to do, I write this last. This is the lead. I usually do early life and education, career, and then personal life, works, professional organizations and associations, and then references. That's kind of how it works. And then external links will be like, I could put other stuff in there too, but I like to put in here as well. I've learned how to do scholarly stuff too, to put their SCOTUS number in there. So I will usually just go and do this, early life and education, like it's always lowercase, everything else. And then I'll do career. And these can change if something comes up. I'll do publications. I'll do, what is it? Personal life? Is that what I call it? Personal life. And as I go through the citations, I will fill in these areas. But first I will go through the citations, and then I will also, the next thing I do is I don't want any of these citations in here. They all got to go. Got to go, got to go, got to go, got to go. I don't want any of this in the meat of the thing. I have the articles open over here. And I can always go back to the original page. I mean, look how confusing this is. See all the stuff in here? Right to here to here. Gone. Take that out. Gone. Take this out. Take this out. It's got to go. There. I love it that I've got this turned on so I can see the colors. All gone. Bye-bye. I'm going to leave this right here for the moment. Okay. And then I have this. No citations, except for that one I left in. So it looks like that. So I'm going to make this live. I probably won't even use a C also. I think those are worthless whenever you're a page like this. Okay, so I've got it down to the bare bones, and I'll go through each thing, and then I will cite them. If I'm going to use those articles again, I'll cite them first using the crinkle, R, bar, word, uncrinkle method. And then I will go through each of the citations, and I will pull out whatever's relevant to this article, and I'll put that into the meat of the body of the article. And then I'll go start looking for new citations, and I'll probably need to look at newspapers.com, which is why I like to do these old rewrites, because I really like working on newspapers.com. I love doing that, and love old newspapers. And then get it all together. I can try looking for a photo, I never find one. And I've got to write on the talk page of the original one that I'm about to work on this and try to do a rewrite. And then it's done. Make it live. So it could be a few hours, it could be days. I don't know. I'm gonna try this and see how I do. All right, I will stop this for now and then come back if I need to. Good morning, everyone. This is day 2, and I hope I'll be able to finish this article today. I'd really like to finish an article a week, and I have just been traveling and doing a lot of things, so I hadn't gotten to it. But gosh, I'm dark. Well, good thing we're going to screen share now. So let's screen share over to the work I worked on last night. I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 hours. Here's where we're at. Edward Frank Wente. I assume that's how you say his name. I've got a lot more in here than I had when you saw me last. Yes, that is a naked woman there. So let me catch you up. I'm up to 9 citations now. This man had nothing on him. He's apparently still alive, or if he's dead, nobody has written anything about him, which I find hard to believe because he's quite notable. When I pick these, I don't have a clue who these people are. Oops, I got to put a space right there. Okay, but what I found is I found his birthday. It had said 1930 is all it said before. And this right up here, I haven't written. I haven't changed anything except I added the October 7th. And then I've started this little section over here, and it needs to be filled in a lot. Here's where I'm really interested in his early life and education. Like I said, there was nothing on him. But what I did is I have an Ancestry subscription. I love using Ancestry. And I went back and I found a lot of personal information about him. Now, I am not putting all of the personal information in there. I'm just going to put the basics. So I found that he was born in New York City, and on this date, I put his mom first because that's the one I found first. And why not? Let's put his mom in there. I'd like to have found her maiden name, but I can go back and look, but I don't have that at the moment. She's born in York, Pennsylvania, and she had graduated from Columbia University Teachers College. And the father is Edward Frank Sr., who was from Iowa. I found that on a census. And in 1940, I found it on the 1940 census. And in 1940, worked as a physicist at a telephone company. He had one sibling, Henry. We're going to get Eric. And so normally we only use their last names, right? When we're writing about a person, all through the whole article, that's the name we're going to use. But in this case, I had to use Edward Wente because otherwise it would have gotten confusing about who I was actually talking about. So we have to be careful. You have to be clear. Whatever you're reading has to make sense, but we sparingly use the first names. You never write Edward had one sibling, right? He had one sibling, Henry C. Wente. I don't know what happened to him. I'm not sure it's relevant. Wente attended Summit High School in Summit, New Jersey. I found his high school picture and when he was 16. So I didn't know if he graduated from Summit High School, so I didn't put that. But later I did find something that said Summit High School. But I think it's the same. Yeah, I just didn't add it in yet because I'm putting him in as I find him. So from Gold of Praise is a tribute to him, and they have a really nice narrative. When he retired in 1996, I think, when he retired in 1995, then all sorts of people all over the world of Egyptology wrote essays, and they put it in this book called Gold of Praise. And it's like a tribute to him on his retirement. At the very beginning, they put a synopsis of who he was, who he married, and his career highlights. So I can pull from that. The problem is I don't want to pull everything from that. I want to try to get it from different sources as well. Then I found, so I went to newspapers.com and I found an article that was written about Tiye, T-I-Y-E. It's pronounced T-E-E, T. That's how they pronounce it. So I found this information, and what had happened is that her mummy had been found. See how she's been looted. Her mummy had been found in a tomb, a side chamber of the tomb of this person here. And it was rumored to be the grandmother of Tutankhamun, King Tut. But they didn't have any evidence for that. So later, see how much hair she has? She had a lot of hair. So later in life, when they found some hair in a locket in the tomb of Tutankhamun, and there was some writing on a scroll that said King T, Queen T. They went and James Harris, Wente, And University of Michigan professor James Harris used microprobe analysis comparing the hair found in the casket with the hair on the head of the mummy, and they were found to be identical. So they were able to say, this is Queen T. But in 2010, they found more, they were able to use DNA evidence and see that it was verified. So I put this photo in here because I have a feeling I'm going to have nothing, no photos at all to put anywhere in this article. And this article, this photo was taken from the Queen T Wikipedia page. So I know it's fine to use elsewhere. I might change this here. She was known as the elder lady. So I might get rid of this because I don't need to have that in this article, and it'll make it appear a little smaller. Or I might change this to say something about that Wente and Harris used the hair from her to determine who she was. I might say that in here instead of this, because it would be more relevant to my article that I'm writing. And so I'll have to make that decision. I have that he retired from, and I'm pretty sure I know where it's from, but I'm not factual about where he retired from. So I just put a question mark. So a sandbox is essentially my work. It's my, I can put whatever I want. It is pretty much, well, almost anything I want, but it is pretty much my workspace. And I have a little note up here at the top. This is a work in progress. It may be incomplete or unreliable. So in other words, don't be pulling stuff from people's sandboxes, and don't be messing on people's sandboxes. That's kind of how we have it. So, and I also finished writing a draft article. Are you ready to request an experienced editor review for possible? This is something that they offer for Wikipedia. We don't use it because almost all of my editors are experienced editors at this time, and we can get something done, reviewed quickly. Whereas if you submit it through there, it might be weeks before you'll get a response. I'll get a response in hours with my team, because that's what we do. So I was able to go through his publications, and I got the Scopus in here. I told you about that earlier. The guy was actually very cited, but I think that it was just long enough ago that it wasn't, I mean, a lot of the articles he wrote were from the 1960s. And so I think that may be throwing that off. Not that I know anything about Scopus, but I think it seems to be more recent stuff. So I went through, I found books, and I got those in here as best I could. Egyptian Make Merry Songs Reconsidered. I wonder what that's about. And I got some selected articles. This one right here, Mummy of the Elder Lady in the Tomb of whatever, an Egyptian catalog. Okay, that is this. So I was thinking of putting it up here, but no, I want to keep it under selected articles. So here's where I talked about the personal life of in honor of this guy, they wrote this book. So I thought I'd keep that under personal life, even though I'm going to use it as a citation elsewhere in the article. And then he has this woman, Dr. his wife. The problem is that I know he married her. I found a mention of that, and it said that she's an Egyptologist. She had a career as an Egyptologist. It says that in the citation, but I find nowhere the birth and death date of this woman. There's nothing. I looked all over the place. So I don't know. I do know she was an Egyptologist, but I think she was from Egypt. I'm almost positive, because I found on Ancestry, she traveled a lot when she was young before she met Edward. I found a lot of passenger lists back and forth from Cairo and Lisbon and all kinds of places. She did a lot of traveling by ship when she's younger. So I'm pretty sure she's from Egypt. And I only know this because I found a reference that said it was like an announcement for their university, the organization they were in the university. And it said like 3 people have gotten married, and it listed the people. And one of them was Edward, to his wife, to the woman that he met in 1970. And it said that she's She's an archaeologist. I can't remember if it's an Egyptologist, but it said archaeologist of her own. And then it says, of these three people here, of these three women, one of them is an Egyptian. But it doesn't say which one is Egyptian. People weren't writing for Wikipedia in the future, right? 60 years later. So I was going to put that she's Egyptian. That would have been very interesting because that was his field. And I'd be interesting if I could put something about her work, but I'm not finding anything. I'm not finding any. I found one thing that said she was like a student, like worked as a student in the archaeology department or something like that. But that's not, I mean, it was not enough. And so, you think about, why do women not have the Wikipedia articles? Why do we have less women having Wikipedia articles? And it's partly this reason. They just didn't get the attention. It's not because our Wikipedia editors don't want to write these articles for women. That would be really cool for me to write an article for her. After I've got that, take the sources and use them and write hers. But I can't even find her birth and death date. I mean, this woman is invisible. And that's what happened to women. They became invisible. They might have done amazing work. They may have been just as relevant, if not more, than their spouses. But if I can't prove it, I can't write it. So I'd like to have, like I said, a sentence or two at least about what she specialized in or what work she did or something. But so far, I haven't come up with anything. And that's kind of sad. Because almost everybody on the list of rewrites of archaeologists that I'm working on, they're all men. They're almost all men. And I'm sure there was a lot of women who had done a lot, but the men need to have those Wikipedia pages also. It's not their fault. But yeah, that was one of the things I was thinking about. So I've got like four more things to go. And let me show you some of these so you can get an idea of what we're talking about. Here's the kind of stuff I have. I've set them aside. I have not read these yet. But this is from newspapers.com. And this is where I got the Queen Tea. So I'm going to read this. Now, a lot of this is about like the work he did. So I may or may not be able to use this on the Wikipedia article. I don't know what that's about. Here's another one. This is about Grand Mummy. So this is going to be about Queen Tea. So maybe there's something in here I can use. Maybe it's just repeating the same things that were in there. And this is a two-parter. So I'm going to have to go. Or is it a two-parter? No, it looks like it's the same one. It looks like it's just a blurb. So I'll look that over. Here's another one on the Chicago Tribune, Science Unlocks Pharaoh's Secrets. So I'll look that over and see what's in there. If this becomes one of those things that is like one of his claim to fame, known for, then I could put that in the lead of the article if it's not already in there. Here's a picture of him right here. And it looks just like his high school or his picture when he was 16, which I don't want to upload. I don't think I should upload a picture of a man at 16. That would be no good. And besides, I don't have permission to do it. So this article, James Harris, this is the one he used the hair. They worked together. I got to see if I can figure out how to get this photo from 1977 onto the Wikipedia page. I have so much trouble with copyright, dealing with the copyright for Wikimedia Commons. It's just so hard to understand the rules. So I'll see about doing that. Maybe I can add that photo to the Wikipedia article since he works so much with him. This is not him. Here's another one. This is continued from page 1, so I'll have to go look and see what it's about. And then I have the high school he went to school at has a Wikipedia page. So I have this sitting off to the right, and they have notable alumni. So I'm going to add him to the notable alumni once I've got the Wikipedia published. So it's always kind of fun because the people who went to Summit High School in New Jersey will look might look at their Wikipedia page for the high school they went to, and they will go down here to the notable alumni and they'll find this archaeologist. I always find that so fun because, we're writing Wikipedia for lots of reasons. But one of them I have this kind of joy about is that the Wikipedia pages we've written will inspire people to go into science. And that maybe somebody reading this will go, wow, look at this guy. He's an Egyptologist. And he had all these discoveries and he's done all these amazing things. And he went to the same high school I did in New Jersey. Wow, maybe I can also go into the sciences. Maybe I can also do good things and big things in the world, right? Somebody went to a lot of trouble to write his Wikipedia page. Look how famous he is. Little knowing that it's me over here just chose his name off the list, and it's been mostly abandoned since it was written. Another thing here's Queen T again. This is the image I took off of there, but it doesn't mention him or Harris in this synopsis. So once I'm done with writing the Wikipedia page, I'll come back and add a little citation of his name and Harris's name. And I don't think Harris has a Wikipedia page. I'm running into some trouble with, when people have common names and you don't know a lot about them, like Harris, it makes it a lot more difficult to find the citations because you're looking through newspapers.com. You know how many Harrises are in there? It's just a lot. So unless somebody has more expertise in the area and has the journals and has everything, understands it well, it can make it quite difficult to find and write these Wikipedia pages. So that's the update I'm on right now. And, and my thought process. If some of these articles are also about Queen T, then I can just add them to the one I have and be done with them. So I go through every article. I don't keep them all up. I put them up until I review them. And then I glean everything I possibly can, even if it says they graduated from college at this year, I'll take that and I'll cite it. And I'll go through it in as much detail as I can to figure out, it's like you're squeezing a rock or something. Well, maybe not a rock, but you're squeezing out all of the stuff you can get out of it. Just pull it all out, even if it confirms something you've already written. As long as it's not like the third or fourth or fifth or sixth time that it says he had a PhD from University of Chicago in a certain year. A couple times is fine, but you pull everything you possibly can out. And then when I'm done with that article and I've cited it, I close it. And then that's how I know when I'm done with the article. That's how I work. Everybody works a little bit differently. And I find it very helpful because then I start out with all these tabs and then I slowly just start closing the tabs as I go. And it makes it much easier to glean from. And the Wikipedia page for Queen T also helped me to be able to add a citation to the Wikipedia page for Edward because I wanted to add that little synopsis about in 2010, they used DNA to confirm what Harris and Wente had already found. So I had to go find a citation on the Wikipedia page and I recited it onto Edward's Wikipedia page. So, that's how we do things. We just copy from other places and use that information. It's all good. But when Wente and Harris had discovered that about Queen T, they didn't have the DNA yet. That was 2010. And they got it, I think, in 1980 something, I think. All right. So I'm getting closer to being done. I like doing these reviews to show the progress and to show you, the viewer, how I at least go about writing a Wikipedia article or rewriting a Wikipedia article, a stub, which is like my favorite thing to do. And the process and how it's not really hard. Finding the stuff on Ancestry probably took me the longest time. And that's because I was just getting involved in looking at more and more stuff. And newspapers.com always gets me. I found an article right above one of the ones that was his about a little girl named Sarah and how she had been taken from her parents who had drug drug problems in 1961. I think it was 1961. She'd been taken away from her parents and she'd been put into a foster care system by this couple who wanted to adopt her. And when they put the child in, they said, go ahead, 95% chance you're going to be able to adopt this little girl. And they had her for 5 years. So when she became 5, the parents entered back into her life and said they've got their lives together and they want their daughter back. So they took her and raised her for 2 more years. So here it is on year 7. And the courts are trying to figure out, should we give her back? We want to finalize this and make a permanent home for her. So should she go back to the adopted parents who raised her for 5 years, who love her and want to adopt her? Or should she stay with the parents who have had drug problems and other issues, though she's with them now? And the judge was just, so I read this whole article and how he was trying to figure out what to do. And he asked the child, he spent an hour with her and talked to her about what she wanted to do at the age of 7. That's kind of scary. And he took advice and, all this stuff. And so then I had to, and it ended, it said, he'll have his ruling, within a week or so. And I'm like, well, don't leave me hanging. What happened to little Sarah? So I had to go find the article from the future, a couple of weeks later and read that. Turns out she went back to her parents. And the problem all along had been that nobody had really talked to the adopted parents and the real biological parents and acknowledged their pain and acknowledged this, because they'd gotten hateful and they got mean and they were like, dissing each other. And all it was is they loved this little girl. And the judge says, at one point, he says, most of my cases dealing with children, minors, is that they don't have anybody who loves them and nobody who wants them. And in this case, we have 2 families that want her. So I could see from both sides how awful this must be, to think that you had this child and it was going to be your child for 5 years and then have it taken away. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. And then to be in the hands of people who have had a bad history and not treated her well and had, issues in the past. Can you trust them again? It's very scary. It's very, very, very interesting. Anyway, so that's what I mean. I got caught up in that newspapers.com, darn newspapers.com. So there's where part of the time went that I was fussing around, but I thought it was interesting. I think it's an interesting story. They made it sound like that was one of the first times they actually asked a child that young where she wanted to, what her opinion was. 7 years old. I wonder what happened to her. Should I look her up? Anyway, so I'll probably save this video and make a third part when I'm done and just go over it again with you guys, because I don't know, I think it's interesting. I might get 4 views, but if 4 people find it's interesting and it helps you, inspire you to get started on your rewriting history, join the team, or if you're already on the team, become more active in how to do this, then yeah. Okay. Hopefully see you in a third video in a minute. It'll be a second in your life. Hi, everyone. I know it's just been a blink in your eyes of how long it's taken me to get this done. I'm done. So I don't know, maybe 6 hours. Maybe it'd been quicker if I hadn't stopped to read so much about everything. So I'm going to make I have a cat that's telling me that it is time to eat. And I'm trying to explain to him, he does not get his food until 5 o'clock. I'm trying to train him, but he will start on about 2 o'clock. Has nothing to do with the time change. I'm trying to ignore him. Just ignore him, people. All right, let's get over to making this thing live. And then let's talk about it. And I learned so much. Oh my gosh, there's so much that I've learned doing these edits. They are just fascinating, the stuff you pick up. Now, will I remember it? The next one that comes along, I will be confused about that. But Hamilton, we're not listening to you. 15 more minutes. I promise. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, he's like just the worst time. Okay, let's move this so that we can see better. All right. So I had a lot of information on this article they had done, Gold of Praise, which was a book with all kinds of essays in it that were written as a tribute to Edward Wente, I don't know, um, at his retirement in 1960. What year was that? Whatever year it was. Gosh, I've already forgotten. Too many years going in front of me. So he retired, and they wrote this book, and they wrote like a biography of him, and gave some personal information. It was really great, and it was written kind of like a Wikipedia page. I mean, I could have copied and pasted it. Of course, I can't do that, but I mean, I could have. It was written that way, and that was from, goodness gracious, that's all live, and there's got a picture of him too. I wish I could take that picture, but I can't. We have to have everything uploaded, or it has to be a certain year after, from 1999. Okay, 1999. So I was looking into the rules about uploading pictures from newspapers and stuff like that, and it's just so complicated. If the picture was uploaded before, if it was used in a newspaper before 1963 and it hasn't been renewed, whatever that means, then I can use it, I think, but it's 70 years after the death of the photographer. So so I have some nice pictures of him, but and it's even more strict if a person's still alive. And Edward Frank Wente is still alive as far as I can tell. So anyway, he's 95. Good job, dude. I hope you're enjoying your life. When he dies, which who knows when that will be, at least now they will have a really nice biography for him that can appear in the Chicago Tribune, which is where he did most of his work, and also maybe even the New York Times. So I better put a Google alert out for this guy so I can find it when it comes out. So I'll try to remember that, because I suspect they're going to be pulling it right from this Wikipedia article. I didn't write it for that reason because I didn't know, but here it is. Okay, so I have made some other decisions since I've written this. I found that he had graduated from Summit High School, not just attended, which is what had put before to be careful. I added in here, this has got the Gold of Praise article. Most of it's in here. And some of the stuff, it gave a little more of his history of his life. They had a ton of documents. I mean, a ton of dates. Like I could have put a little, like a chart with, on this day he did this, on this day he did this, on this day he did that. And I just didn't really want to do that, because you can get it off of the article, which I've linked to, and I don't really know what's more notable than other things, and it just becomes a bunch of text. I mean, maybe I could have put it like right down here somewhere. But I went in and looked, because one of the things they had, it's a little confusing how this worked. He got his AB, and I don't know what an AB is. I guess that's like a BA, but they wrote AB, graduating in 3 years in 1951. Then he went, and he was a Fulbright exchange student at Cairo University. In 1959, he received his PhD with this guy, his advisor. And here's his dissertation, the syntax of verbs of motion in Egyptian. Sounds riveting. He taught at the university. Okay, and then in the same article, that same book, Gold of Praise, they put his professors. So sometimes it's important to have those in. I thought it was nice. So I looked to see which ones had Wikipedia pages, and John A. Wilson does. Edgerton was the guy who did was his advisor, and Keith C. Steele. These two didn't have Wikipedia articles, but John A. Wilson did. So I put that there. They also put other people who were fellow students of his. One of them had a Wikipedia page and the other two didn't. So I didn't want to put one and not the other two, because you're really only supposed to put notable peers, but I don't know, it just felt wrong. Okay, I found that he was consulted on the Egyptian expert as one of the Egyptian experts for the TV documentary Pyramid. I couldn't find a Wikipedia page for Pyramid, but I just added that in because that's part of your career. Most of this is copy and paste from the Gold of Praise. I don't like doing that, but I tried to keep everything really, really tight and have hardly any quotes in the whole article because you're not supposed to overquote stuff. This I expanded a little bit. I found an article that says that they were given 3 hairs out of that locket that they found in the casket that was in Tutankhamun's, here it is, Tutankhamun's tomb. So I thought that was really cool, just the visual of that. See, I'm more of a storyteller and I'm more interested in stories. That's how it sticks in my brain. So that was super interesting, thinking of these people managing to have enough prestige that they were able to get 3 hairs from the locket they found. That must have been very, very precious. And then they used the hairs to do this microprobe analysis, and it compared the hair to the hair on the mummy, and that's how they found it was identical. And then they were able to come in 2010 and get that. I also found an article that said that Wente stated, S-T-A-T, yeah, looks like started in 1978, that the Michigan team did most of the work. So he says that, so I just kind of summed it up and put it in that sentence. So it's a little bit more in there. I didn't change anything on here. I still found nothing on her, but I did find in the Gold of Praise that it said something like this. He met his wife when he was a graduate student. They married in 1970, and that she taught classes specializing in this. And I hyperlinked to these 2 things. I thought that's about as good as I can get because I don't know anything else about her. There's really nothing I found. And the old article had doctor, and then it had her last name, Went. But I removed that because we're not supposed to use doctor. And it's obvious that she ends up becoming a doctor, getting her doctorate. And we just don't use doctor on these things. It's a honorific that isn't used on Wikipedia. And I didn't want to use Wente because when he met her, she wasn't a Wente. And I wanted to give her her own name, make it more like that was her name. So, and I found this also in that article, Gold of Praise. It says he was an avid fan of railroading and has a collection of model trains, and he's active in the Lutheran Church. So I don't know if that's current, but the citation is number 5, which is going to that Gold of Praise. So as of this article in 1999, he was active in the Lutheran Church, and he's an avid fan of railroading and has a collection of model trains. So I first tried to hyperlink to railroading, meaning those kinds of people who collect trains, model trains. But railroading goes to like just people who are fans of trains. So I don't know if he was a train fan, or if he was just a model train fan collector. So I took that out, the hyperlink, and just left it because it seems to be pretty obvious. And I left the photo in because I think that's relevant, and otherwise I've got nothing. And it might make people want to read the article because they'll say, oh, wow, whoa, what the heck is that? That's very interesting. So I've already gone over to the Wikipedia page for T, Queen T. And one of the things that was missing is how they had the middle missing. So they had talked about how she had been the elder lady, and that people were skeptical that she was Queen T. I know it's T-I-Y-E, but it's pronounced T, T-E-E. And so this part was here, and then it jumped down to this part about the lock of hair they found in Tutankhamun's tomb. And then it went down to the DNA analysis in 2010. So the whole middle part was missing. It looks like they just found the hair in 1976, and then in 2010 they had the DNA. So what I did is I wrote this paragraph, mostly copying it from what I'd already written on Edward's Wikipedia article. And I use the same citation. I mean, it's just copy and paste and then just change a couple words so it's more clear. And it explains what I think was missing in that they had were given some of the hairs and they were able to put it together. It was probably her, and that Edward Wente said her hand was closed in a fist and positioned over her chest as if she had been holding a scepter. See it right here? And that's if she probably did have a scepter, but when they found the mummy in the 1890s, I believe, it had been undressed and derobed, and they'd gone in her chest and they had taken the jewels and anything that was left. So she probably did have at one point a scepter there. Boy, isn't she just noble looking? What a woman she must have been. They said, I think she made it to 50. I also shortened this part on the other article. So the only thing I want to do now while I have you live is I want to go and fix this, which I adore, is doing this kind of stuff, is the Summit High School. I'm not going to go and put him as alumni from the University of Chicago. That's probably like 9,000 pages long. But this high school, come on, this is really cool. So somewhere in here, there should be alumni. There you go. Wow, what a mess. Okay, so you put these in alphabetically, and you could add an alumni section if there isn't one on a Wikipedia article. That's fine. So his name starts with a W, so he's going to be way down here. W-E. So let me put this over to the side so I can look at one at a time. Not Ward. Okay. W-E-N-T-E. So it's going to be after Herb Schmidt, who was a retired soccer and lacrosse player, and before Wilson. So let's go like this. You just copy whatever format that's already in there. So I'm going to put an asterisk, and then I'm going to put his name, and I'm hyperlinking EDWARD, Frank Wente, unhyperlink. Oops, wrong. Some places they put this, like class of and the whatever dates and stuff like that. So some don't, but I'm going to use that same format. Nobody's going to really care. If they don't like it, they can go and fix it themselves. 1930. Oh, class of, what year did we say he graduated? 1940. 48. 19. Too young to go to World War II. Okay. Now I have to sum him up. What is he? Egyptologist. And professor at University UNIVERSITY of Chicago, on hyperlink. I could leave it there, or I could add something else. I'll leave it there for the moment. When we get more information, I can add that later. So I'm going to go over to my sandbox. I'm just going to copy the citation I'm using for his high school, which I think is the gold one. I'm just copying it, and I'm going to come over here and paste it because you have to have some kind of citation to prove this. I'm just copying and pasting that. Okay, so if I've done this right, and you should always check your preview, I don't know anything about that. I'm going to ignore that for the moment. And alumni, Edward Frank Wente, born 1930, class of 1948, Egyptologist and professor at University of Chicago, citation 45. Somebody's got an error over here in 30. Somebody better get over there and fix it. Okay, gold phrase, there it is, Oriental. So I'm going to write down here, added. I wonder if there's a surname for Wente. Let's just double check. I like adding this WNTE if I can. Surname list. It's already in there. I'm going to make it Frank. So that was already there. And I'm not going to look and see if there's a name for, how do I say it? They have names for people named Frank. I'm not going to do that. Can you imagine how long that would be? So these are only people who have Wikipedia articles can be on these things. But it's always fun to have them in there because it's like I think of it as, I call it like the Goldilocks effect, where you just stumble across something somewhere and then you click on it and then you all of a sudden you're reading it and then there's something interesting going on with that. Okay, so let's make this live. All right. Got so many screens open. Let's get rid of the train collecting. And okay, so let me show you what this looks like. I'm going to rip out this page and substitute my page. So here's the Wikipedia page as it exists right now. This is it. You got all these stubs on here too. Oh, one of the articles I found of his classmate was a stub. And I said, oh, I could fix that. So I added it to the stub, the American Archaeological Stubs list, and the Egyptologist stubs, and American Educator stubs. See all these down here? So I went through and I removed all that from, I added it to another guy's page. So it's one more on that list of people I'm going to try to get done. I'm learning a lot about archaeology, especially Egyptology. Is a lot of them in there. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to this. This is the current Wikipedia page. And I'm going to take from here. I got rid of the list of Egyptologists to here, and I'm going to delete it. And then I'm going to go to my sandbox. And I'm going to they've got the short description in there. I'm going to add this. I like this because this is how I do it. It's the R, crinkle, crinkle, R, bar, word, uncrinkle and crinkle style. I have no idea what that's actually called. I like to leave this. See, it's in green like this. And that way only editors can read that. Because I would like them to continue using the style I have used. Okay. Copy from, I don't want to copy too much code. I should be able to tell. So I'm going to go all the way to the bottom of my article. And let's see if it looks right. I have people who just freak out at doing this. You're deleting one and you're making another one. I don't have anything else to put in here. That's empty. Citations seem to all work. Okay, I'm going to get rid of all these stubs. See, there's no stubs in here in the categories, so these were already in there. This is all there. Living people, 1930 births. I could put train hobbyist. I don't know. Yeah, looks really good. I'm very impressed. I knew nothing about this guy. So obviously I can't fill all this in. Known for I didn't know what to put. I mean, I could think about it. Notable works. Again, notable means does it have a Wikipedia page? So I don't think any of the books he has written have Wikipedia pages. Somebody else can do that. Obviously he's not dead. I don't have a photo. All right. Oops. Rewritten page, see the talk page. Okay, so here it should go. Interesting. I just love that. I can't get enough of this Queen T. She is something else. Wow, I was reading about her history a little bit. So now I'm going to go to the talk page. I've also added this thing. It's requested that a photograph be included, and I add that on pages all the time. There are ways, I believe, to look and see if there are like a list. And I guess you could go in Flickr and try to find it. That's another one that has a lot open. So I wrote this 22 hours ago that I am going to try to rewrite this. And I usually tell people how much time it's going to take me to get this done. And if they have anything they want to add, to please just post it here so that I can add it in. Never anybody replies. What else? Let's see. I would love it. Got added. And expanded. More on his wife. I did find a photo of him and his wife. I should check Wikimedia Commons. I usually end it the same way. The reason why I'm doing this is because, and most people don't do this, is because I want people to understand that, as an editor, I am not sitting on this page and hoping that, and I'm going to approve every edit and be all like, don't touch it, don't touch it. I'm going to walk away from this article. I'll probably keep it up on the watch list for a while, and then I'll remove it when I get, well, I'll leave it on there. I doubt this is going to get a lot of edits, but there is, some people have a reputation, and some Wikipedia articles have a reputation of being sat on, like the editor's there and they it's their own personal project and they don't want anybody to touch it or anything like that. So they get all hurt. So when I write a note saying I'm about to rewrite this, if you have suggestions, please let me know. Leave it here. I probably will only have it for a couple days, just on the off chance somebody else is working on the article, and then we could work together. Or I can just say, oh, okay, I'll let you have it. Or they'll say, oh no, let you have it. Like I said, I usually choose really old pages that nobody has any interest in editing. And then, I should have looked to make sure there was no edits on the page, but I don't think there was anything. I've only had it in my sandbox like a day or two. And then by responding in kind, I'm saying, I'm done. Please, you guys work on this. And if there's something that I'm confused about, or I wish I'd found, or, somebody could expand on, leave it in there and then let somebody else expand it whenever they get a chance. It's just I think it's polite. I try to teach my team members to do the same. And I wish more editors would do that kind of thing. Some people live edit, and I do not teach my team that way. I think it's too confusing when you go in and you start editing it. If you're going to do a rewrite, you should not do it live. You should always pull it out, put it in your sandbox, get it done within a couple days, and then go in and put it back in. Just totally new, which is why we have so few people who edit our do anything to our work, because we are completists. And when one person writes it from top to bottom, it reads a little better. So now I'm going to take this article, I'm going to put it up in places for my team, and I'll make it public for people out there to look at. And I've got a lot of people who follow me on social media that are also editors. And what they'll do is they'll come in, not necessarily my team members, they'll come in and they'll fix all the grammar that I've messed up, because I'm not here to do the grammar. I'm here to rewrite the page, let other people who enjoy doing all that grammar stuff, let them deal with it. So I'm going to go to my sandbox. I'm going to delete everything in my sandbox, which is what I usually do. And I'm going to delete it. And I'm going to, not the sandbox, I'm deleting everything, and I'm just going to write, wiped clean, ready to start next project. And now my sandbox is empty, waiting for the next event. So those people out there who watch me and watch my edits, and I know they're there, a lot of them are from the UFO world or the Wikipedia world, who are all like critics of me or just really wary of my edits. They get notifications every time I make an edit if they want to look at that. And they never say anything when it's something like this. But if I go and edit a UFO page or a psychic page or something, they're all up in arms. Ah, nobody mentions this. I think this will be my, I should look. I don't get a lot of views on the articles I write or rewrite, because I usually pick articles that are very, like I say, old. And I can hear him crying. He's like, it's 5 o'clock, Mom. I don't see a lot of views on the articles I write. I got to remember to put a Google alert on this guy. So I have written, this will be 86 pages. A few of the articles I've written have been deleted, but they're still in my list of things that I've done because they acquired views at that time. But back in the day, I didn't really know what I was doing. And so I did create a few pages that lasted a few years, but they're not there anymore. So that's fine. Anyway, this will be number 86. Interesting. I hope you enjoyed this special, all 4 of you who've watched it to the end, and I hope it's inspired you to learn more about these things. Go visit these pages, maybe learn how to edit, and maybe join our team. Take care, everybody.